See if I can get my earring back in. Is she? Where is she? How come this isn't working? Oh, hang on. What's happening here? Accept. Okay. That was my bad. I didn't accept it. Usually Alyssa's doing this part. All right. I got my earring back on. What's happening here? I don't see you on. It says that she's on the live stream, but I don't see her on. Go live with Valerie. Hello. Why is this not working? What is happening here? Alyssa, I don't know why it's not working. I accepted her. Oh, here we go.
Woohoo!
What happened there? We don't know.
I have no idea.
You know, I was trying to do a reel today and Instagram was driving me crazy. It just was
Oh man.
correctly. So there might be a glitch. We're getting a little glitchy here. All right, Valerie is here. Hello. And we're going to talk a little bit about the accelerator, but we want to talk about you too and what you were doing in the accelerator and also your business too. So we're going to start there. So let me just talk a little bit about the accelerator before we jump in, and you can introduce yourself and the name of your business and what you do, and we'll just chat. So me and Alyssa opened the accelerator in February, and a lot of the accelerator, so it's a 30-day program working closely with me and Alyssa in a mastermind group with other women. And the intention here, really, it kind of came through with the fire horse energy, is I need to do a mastermind. I, proposed it to Alyssa and I was like, this is what we need to do. And she's like, hell yeah, let's fucking do it. And the thing is to really create momentum in your business, especially with the energy that we're working with in 2026. And a lot of what we focused on was content creation, visibility. And I know one of the big things for you was really working on your offers. So I've been coaching you for a little while, and I know you've been doing a lot of back and forth and really figuring out what you want to do, and you really nailed it during the accelerator. So why don't you introduce yourself, a little bit of background about what you do, and then we'll get into a little bit about your membership too.
Sure. My name is Valerie Smith. My business is Valerie Smith Wellness, but it includes teaching Chinese medical theory to acupuncture students. I have a practice, an acupuncture practice in Watertown, and then building this women's wellness mentoring specifically for women moving through midlife. And it really built from my own experiences of really wanting to downshift and see what that looks like. And, what have I been maybe missing out on, or where am I not being my authentic self? And I've been wanting to do these. I've had a plan since like 2019. And it really wasn't until I started working with you and then in the accelerator, everything intensified, that I feel like I've just moved forward in a way that I would never be able to figure out on my own.
And just to get clear too, so you are working, and you're still working a lot one-on-one with clients with acupuncture, but what Valerie really wanted to do with her business is create more of a membership style while she still has her one-on-ones, and really move from having to trade time for money into something where she can build an online community. And even we've talked about you like going out and teaching in different places as well. But it's a way to run your business more efficiently, so you're not always having to be in your office.
And just to be anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like working anywhere in the world. And one of the things that I really love about your membership is, you want to talk a little bit about what you're focusing on in there?
Yeah, so the membership, the membership I think will be really cool. It'll be a monthly call discussion on a particular topic. It could be what I'm working on for this current workshop. In the membership, it could be self-compassion, it could be purpose, it could be clarity. So there'd be a presentation and discussion, because I love the conversations, I love the interactions. And then there would also be the use of Telegram app, which I really love with the accelerator because it gives such immediate access. And so there'd be a weekly visualization that I'd upload on Monday, depending on what was going on with everyone. And any workshops I gave would be included in that membership. Trying to think of what else.
Well, let's talk about what's the pull to you to do this membership, like the connection with women and the changes that they're going through in their life.
Yeah, I'm just so passionate about working with women, and it could be partly because I am a woman and I am moving through midlife, but a lot of my practice is women in the same kind of season of life. Eventually, I also want to work with young women on empowerment and speaking their truth. But for now, I'm focused on this, and I just feel passionate that we as women carry a lot, and we take care of a lot. And by the time we know it, we're facing, that sounds very dramatic, we're moving through midlife. And now is the time to think about what we want to shed, like revisit what even we call ourselves. Is this even correct? Or is this a role that we've needed to play or needed to take up? And so I'm really passionate about words too. You know, the last workshop was curiosity, clarity, and boundaries. And, you know, we just take it to all different places to talk about, you know, we have value, and particularly with boundaries. For example, saying no is enough. We don't have to say why. We don't have to have a good excuse. We can just say no. And the person might not like it, but that's not our problem, you know? So it's trying to look at those pieces of the puzzle, you know, because I'm always about the puzzle. Chinese medicine is always about the puzzle. It's about all the relationships of the organs, but I feel that way with words too. So, and one of the pieces for me is I'd always been focused on women's wellness mentoring, and I was just using that word again and again and again, and I was starting to lose even what that meant for me. And so when I started working with you, it was more, I just want to do more online courses so I have more freedom. And then through Accelerator, I took it to another level, like, what is this really about? And when I had this first workshop, I realized that I love the conversation. I love the discussion. I love the coaching piece. And that's really what it's evolved to at this point.
Yeah, and I really love the whole concept of working with women in midlife because, you know, we've had a lot of conversations about this. You know, I just turned 40, and that can be scary, you know. And I remember when I turned 30 too, I was like, oh my God, I'm old. But you know what? I thought, like, I felt older when I turned 30 than now when I'm 40. And because there's so much stigma about midlife, especially with women, and that it's kind of like, oh, you're all done now. You know, I see a lot of things online, especially, you know, with guys, like there's these stupid guys commenting on posts and like, nobody wants you anymore. And there's a lot of crazy stigma about women getting older as opposed to men. I feel like, and
I agree 100%.
This is one of the things that you're really you're focusing on right now. You have your smaller micro courses, and then you're going to move into your membership. And it's to really help women see that your life is not over at midlife. You're starting new, you know, you're creating new, you're becoming it. And I feel like when women get to midlife, they're already starting to shed and, you know, disconnect from the old, but we've never been taught. And I feel like in Western society that, okay, it's time to move into the new and your life is just beginning in a different way. Yeah. I feel like a lot of Western culture is like, you're done. That's it. You know?
And even, you know, when women don't think they're done, it's kind of like, well, what do I do now? Like, what do I do now with this free time, or whether it's empty nesting or winding down a career or whatever it is, you know, I feel that it's so important that we're not winding down, we're kind of winding up and out, we're expanding. And expansion in this stage of life just brings such satisfaction to do different things that we've always wanted to do, but felt that we didn't have time. Or I have to look after someone else. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we're caretakers for a reason, but
Right.
we lose our boundaries around caretaking and losing ourselves. And I
Hmm.
feel like that's part of what is shifting in the women that I work with.
Hmm. Yeah. What do you feel like? And I know like some of the things like we've talked about privately was, I feel like, do you want to talk about your dad, the whole moment? I just love this story because I think
Yeah,
it's so great because it's just, I feel like people need to shift their perspective on
yeah.
getting older, you know?
It was such a lesson to me even when I was younger. But so my dad, when he was getting ready to retire, he ended up tapering down his work. When he was getting ready to retire, his whole thing was, um, what's next? You know, like I got to put my resume together. He kept saying, I put my resume together, and I got to put, you know, I got to do my resume. Like, what are you talking about? You're retiring. But his resume was not really what job he would have next. It was like,
Mhm.
what would he fill his life with
Mhm.
next? How to make this more fulfilling? And so he was writing, you know, editorials for the newspaper, the local newspaper. He taught business administration. So he worked with small business loans with people to volunteer. He just did a lot of different things after he retired. And it was so important, I think, for me to see that. And so I did it with every age. Like
Mhm.
I went back to study acupuncture when I was 30. And I remember there was someone in my department and she was like, oh my God, you're kind of old for that, right? And I was like, are you kidding me? I'm just starting this new career. This is
Yeah.
awesome. So I think that he really instilled that of always forward movement and always being on the journey, and also learning, like learning
Yeah.
and growing and being curious. So I really have always valued this, and I think of it all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, and I just feel like that's such a foundational piece for your work and what you're creating, and
Yeah.
really holding that space for people to continue to grow.
Hmm.
You know, I feel that I was watching some show the other day, and one woman was like, she had kids, and she's like, I can't think straight anymore, and I feel like at times people get so immersed in, like you said, taking care of others, and then they don't know how to reconnect with themselves. And I've seen that a
100%.
lot with working with women, especially when I did a lot of readings. So, when I did a lot of readings, I had like 10 to 15 people coming in a week, and obviously most of them were women, and they would just come in and like their whole reading would be about their kids. And I'm like,
Yep.
what about you?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the basis of your program is
Yeah.
what about you and what are
Yeah.
you creating and who are you becoming, and what energy do you want to embody? And a lot of the transits coming in astrologically, especially this month and moving forward with all this Aries energy, and we're moving into the age of Aquarius, is really about embodying that energy that lives inside of you. And I feel like we've been taught to be so separated from that. And when I work with you, and I know Alyssa feels this way too, it's like your work really has a purpose to help people
Yeah.
expand, especially women in midlife,
Mhm.
to hold that space for themselves to be able to go to the next and the next and the next.
And I feel like often, like our self gets lost, like the
Hmm.
example you gave of the woman with kids, and she's just so overwhelmed. And I think when we get in that space, it's hard to even think that there is anything else.
Right.
And what's so important, which I try to like plant these seeds, is that it doesn't take a lot. It can be
Hmm.
5 minutes that you sit quietly in your car that creates some space in your head to think about
Hmm.
what's next,
Yeah.
or to have a different perspective on what you're in the middle of. And I think that's really important.
Hmm. Yeah, and we're not taught that either. So like this
Right.
morning, I was at the gym and I was getting angry about something, and I had to just sit and like connect with my heart, and I was like, where is this coming from? You
Mm,
know, what is this energy? And as soon as I connected with it, it just kind of dissolved.
I
But I
love that.
think the thing that we are typically doing is just like, get out of here.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
I got to go on to the next thing.
Yeah, and then we go on to the next thing, but we're carrying this heaviness within us. And I
Yeah.
remember when I learned integrated energy therapy, and what that is it's you're working with high frequency, angelic frequency, and you're hitting pressure points on the body, and you're going in energetically, and then you're releasing them. But when I was taught this is you get to the shoulders, and that's where people carry a lot of their shoulds. And the person that taught me told me that when you see people that are really hunched over all the time, especially elderly people, and they have that hunched over back, is like they carried that energy their whole life. Like, should I have done this? Should I have done this? Should I have done this?
Wow.
And I feel like that's a big part of your program, and a lot of what you're working on is like, let's do it, let's create it, let's move through it. And I feel like it's very important for you to be opening this space right now.
Thank you. And I love it. You know, I always feel that you teach, you learn. So when I'm teaching, I'm also learning from the people who attend the workshops, and my frequency kind of expands at the same time theirs does.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just feel like being in the accelerator program too, and working with all the other women, it's like, you know, you're watching what they're doing. And, you know, I get motivated too when I'm in these containers, of course, because it's very high energy in a good way, where it keeps you going, it keeps you moving. It's, you know, even things that I'm coaching you on, and the same thing with when you're working with them, and it's like, oh, I need to shift this in my business too, or I need to shift this in my life. So yeah, I love that. So
I did too. I was thinking about this today, knowing that we were going to chat. One of the things that I really loved, there were many things, but one of the things I really loved about the accelerator is that we were all working on very different things, or different pieces. Just about all of it had some energetic base to it. So it was all connected. And I learned from the conversations other people were having. I learned from those. They germinated some ideas for what I could do in my own business space. And then all the trainings that you got. Yeah, I want to do Facebook ads. Here's a training. I'm looking at doing YouTube. Here's the training. Like, there's so much information that you all plug into this. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, the way I coach, and I feel like Alyssa too at times, is, well, me and Alyssa have a lot of things in our back pocket too, like other trainings that we've done, and we throw them in there. But for me, I'm very like also like just on the fly too. So when you guys are like, what about this? You know, like with the lead pages and the content piece, I like to use a lot of my stuff as example of like, this is how I changed my lead page. And that's even the accelerator, helpful. I was like, you know, helping you guys. Well, I was helping Sam. We did a lot of work with Sam and Elizabeth's lead pages on that. But then I looked at my own lead page, and I'm like, this shit sucks. So that happens sometimes too in business, because you're like, all right, I'll just put that up for now. I got to focus on other things. And that's what happened with one of my lead pages. So I had to call myself out on my own shit in the accelerator.
I love it. But I also think that that's another piece of what really makes the accelerator, as you and Alyssa are both so authentic, and you know, just like what you said, it's like, this is shit, I need to work on this. You know, that it's like you're in there with us equally.
Yeah,
you know, even though you are coaching, you have this amazing experience and wealth of knowledge, it's like you're just, okay, what do you need? What do we do? Yeah,
and that's the thing is, you know, when you're coaching others, you have to be vulnerable at times too, and be like, wait a minute, like I got to call myself out on this too, you know. And also with a business, there's so many moving parts and pieces.
Right.
So, you know, the deeper you go into your business, and especially when you're doing a lot of programs, and especially with marketing right now, it's insane. You know, like the content training pieces that we do is just so in depth, because you do have to be really good at content now in order to get people to even pay attention. So that's definitely a big piece with the accelerator program, is the content and the visibility. And the visibility is more energetic. So it's making sure that your content's good, but also your energy is behind it, you know?
Right.
So that's like another big piece with that program, and just really being open, you know, to the changes that are needed.
There was one there was one social media post I was working. I was like working on. I was like, this sounds great. This is awesome. And then I plugged in. I was like, I'm not sure what the intention is here. Like I was like, okay, this looks great, but what is the intention of this? And then I think Alyssa popped in. She was like, well, you could do visibility, you could do sales, you know. And so even that type of information is just so helpful, because otherwise, you know, I might be posting things, but it's not necessarily reaching who I want it to reach if I don't know what my actual intention, except to post something about my course. So it really changes things.
Yeah, with certain content, you got to get very intentional with it, and what's the point of it, and how you move through it and connect it with a specific audience for what you're offering. You know? And then there's other content that I just throw out for more nurturing content to connect with people. So, but yeah, those are the things that we move through in the accelerator. And, you know, everybody that is in that container, we make sure that they're at a level where they're creating a lot of impact, and, you know, really wanting to help people. And, you know, really, it's not about business coaching. It's about very purposeful, more energetic, soulful work as well.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Is there anything else that you want to say or talk about today?
I think if I were to say anything more about the accelerator, the organization is really tight. And I loved using Telegram because you all put different categories, like post in here.
Well, Alyssa did that.
For anything. Well, post in here for anything, post in here for review. Yeah. So everything wasn't muddled, because it could easily just be like I'm searching for something and I don't know. But the other thing I don't think we didn't really touch on was the channeling labs that you bring, like the visibility lab is amazing. And I know that I told you once before that, because I do this with a lot of things. If it's like a long visualization, sometimes I'll listen to it as I'm going to sleep, so it will just sink in. So I did that with the visibility lab, and I woke up and I really felt like there was not only a shift, but I had been somewhere. I don't know exactly where I was, but I had been somewhere. And I could definitely see a shift, even just being a little bit, I don't want to say more grounded, but just more comfortable in my skin. And that was really great.
That was with the visibility channeling lab?
Yep.
I don't know where I brought you guys, but definitely somewhere in the galactic realm.
Oh, it was, I don't know where it was either. I was like, wow.
Yes. Yeah, but and that's the other thing about the accelerator, when you opt in, you get a lot of me and Alyssa's live programs. And so the next round of the accelerator we're starting May 22nd. And you will get my Visions Lab and get the bag with the accelerator as well. So the Visions Lab is going to actually be, well, both of them are going to be really cool. Get the bag is actually going to be the whole month of June. And that's going to be all money, wealth consciousness. But really what I want to focus on a lot is scripting. So there's going to be scripting forms of manifestation, which I'm really focusing on for myself right now. And then we're bringing that into the June lab. So it's because we're creating the timelines right now. So that's a lot of what the channeling labs are about as well. Even NPLN that me and Alyssa are hosting too. I'm really adamant on we need to create higher timelines for humanity. And the Visions Lab is really simple. It's about holding your vision, your purpose, your mission. And that's going to be a week of intensity in that too.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so that is included with the next round of the accelerator too. That starts May 22nd, and we're opening enrollment now.
Yeah, I would say if you're on the fence, if you've been trying to figure things out on your own and you have that vision of where you want to go, it's like a no-brainer. It's not like a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer. Yeah. I feel like business wise, but also vision wise, I have so much more clarity. I have more direction. I have more nuts and bolts that I can rely on to get things done that
Mhm.
I've never really had before, whether it's Opus Clips to chop up a video and do posts or, whatever. But it's such it's a great program, and I feel that you and Alyssa are just very generous with what you're
Thank you.
offering and the commitment that you give to each person. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Well,
Mhm.
me and her are both obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like me and Alyssa are literally texting each other during the week, like, "Oh my God, this is so awesome." We just love doing it.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
great. That's awesome.
we're super passionate about helping you guys get your work out there because we know how important it is. So
Yeah.
with the next round of the accelerator, there is an application process because we just want to make sure that it fits. You know, we want to make sure that
That
the
makes sense.
intention is there. Also, you got to be in the right space in your business. If you're somebody that's really focused on just one-on-ones right now and you're not doing any type of programs and you're not really into marketing, the accelerator isn't going to be something for you. Me and Alyssa have other programs that could probably fit that narrative, but you got to be at a certain level. You got to be more of a seasoned entrepreneur and, hosting online programs or coaching or something where you're ready to bring your business to the next level, especially with the marketing piece too. So you gotta want to be visible and putting yourself out there. All right, Valerie, thank you for hopping on today. This was
Thank
fun,
you.
and we should do another live because we need to talk about the acupuncture and
Oh, I would love to.
Chinese medicine because
Yeah,
that's really cool. All
it is.
right.
I love it. Take
All
good
right.
care.
So
Thank you so
thank you
much.
everyone for watching, and thank you, Valerie. And DM me or Alyssa with any questions about the accelerator. And I'll see y'all soon. Bye.